Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we are on week 6 of CS50A. As you see here, this should what your screen should look like as far as for this week. I have a PDF. For whatever reason, the PowerPoint that I had ready for you guys, it's corrupted, so I just pulled one off of SlideShare. I apologize for the bell. I'm trying to take care of this so I'm not working until 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you're also going to have a practice quiz, which will take you to quizzes, okay? Do the solo practice, okay? Answer all the questions. I believe there's 35 of them. When you actually take your physical quiz, it's only going to have 10 questions similar to these. Okay, so let's get back to here. So that's a practice quiz. Take that. You can do as many times as you want. And then quiz 1, which is a Canvas-based quiz. Once you're finished, it'll show you your raw score. And I believe I checked it so you can get the feedback on which ones were correct. You may only take it once. Sorry. If you bomb it extremely bad, then send me an email and I will discuss it with you on retaking it. But it's only 10 questions, 10 points. It's not like a midterm where it's worth 50 to 100 points, okay? It's not going to destroy your grade. And then we have assignment 6. Assignment 6, let me just click really quick. This is going to start your midterm project, okay? So you're going to create a website on an animal you're choosing. So whatever animal you thoroughly enjoy. It could, even if it's an insect, okay? Insects are still types of animals. So you're going to create 3 .html files, okay? You're going to create a home one, which will include one H1 at least and 3 paragraphs. It's going to include pictures and links and some basic information, okay? For the front end, for the comments, that's in the actual HTML, so it doesn't pop up on the actual website itself. You can cite your sources there where you got your information. You're going to create a facts page that's going to be linked into your home. And at the very top, there should be a nav, and we'll cover this in the coming week. W3 Schools can also help you if you really wanted to get started with that. You don't have to have it up and running quite yet. If you want to do the basic framework, you're more than welcome to. And a gallery page, okay? And what that is galleries are images. So if you want to throw that into a table, we're going to discuss that next week. I'm going to kind of jump ahead a little bit from the curriculum so you guys can see what's happening there. I will also post a link to W3 Schools for doing gallery frames and tables, so you can interlink them. Please make sure that every picture is a link and it has a blank target, so it goes to a new tab. Okay, it's really, really, really important that that happens. Otherwise, your user's going to have to be clicking back and forth, back and forth, and I don't know about you, but I find that annoying. So this is due, not your whole project, okay? It's just the basic framework for the home.html, your facts page.html, and your gallery page.html, and your CSS, the basic framework. All 3 pages need to be linked to a CSS file. That is what I'm really looking for. Did you do the linkage properly? All right. So here is our quote-unquote PowerPoint that I ripped off of SlideShare because the one I created is corrupt. Yay, right? Okay, it's 52 slides long. You don't need to go through all of them. We're only literally going to go through like 15. And I don't have a lot of time for this recording. So, okay, so CSS is Cascading Style Sheet. It's used to describe the presentation of the documents or web pages. It defines the sizes, spacing, fonts, color, layout, borders, and tons of other things. It does also do animations, in which later in this curriculum we'll kind of cover it over. Okay, so CSS can be applied to any XML document, not just your HTML or XHTML. Okay, you can do CSS can specify different styles for different media, on-screen, imprint, handheld. It even can be adjusted so you can be by voice or braille, which is for individuals that can't see. So the cascade priorities or specificity weight are calculated and assigned to the rules. We will get into that a little bit later, but go ahead and review those. This is just for padding and certain areas of the document. You can also use your developer tool in Chrome. I believe it's F12 on your keyboard as well, and you can kind of poke around and see how it looks. Okay, so what we're really going to be focusing on is color, font size, font family, line height, text alignment, and list styles. So that's what we're really going to be focusing on for the next like 2 weeks or so. Okay, so in your style sheet, here your selector, it could be your ID, it could be your class, it could just be if it's for the body or an H1 or a specific paragraph, okay? You have your little curly bracket, and then your property, which is part of your declaration. Okay, colon separates the property from the value. The value could be numerical, it could be written, or it could be an actual URL or assigned. Okay, any semicolon, it separates the two declarations out. Okay, so here are a few examples. Dot header A, okay, you can also be hashtag. So if we're going to go by tags, so if you want all of your H1s on your web page or web pages, if you have multiple web pages linked to a single CSS, so it creates a form of allowing for the viewer to see very similar styles for each web page. You don't want it being crazy different. You want it to be fairly it's a Monday. Let me just say that. I'm having a hard time thinking. You want it streamlined. So H1 is going to be what it's focusing on. And the font family for this one is Veranda and sans serif. But if you do it by element ID, so it's hashtag. So if you do ID within, let's just say you do H1 and then ID and then equals, and then you put whatever the name is, that's what you're going to put right here. And this one is color FF and then 4 zeros. I don't remember what that one is. Oops, sorry. If you do a class, whatever the classification is, remember, this is only for HTML. It would be like body class equals, and it's specific to that. This would be dot and then whatever the class is. And then you can do a border, you can do underline, you can do specific emphasis, you can change the color, you can do whatever you want. And then if you want to do selectors, so if you want to do multiple ones, you separate each one of the property, or excuse me, each one of the selector by a comma. So if you see that right in here, that's what it is. Okay, you can do hover over and actions. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if you want to, W3 Schools also has a great online learning resource just to kind of get an idea what it looks like. We will cover it in later lessons. Kind of skip forward. Okay, so when you guys are doing your red, green, blue formatting, you can also, if you know what the code is, you can do the code like right here, or if you have specific numbers in mind, you can always do the equals RGB in lowercase and then open it up with a parenthesis. and then type it. You must have a space in between the numbers, otherwise it's not going to work properly. Don't forget, you're going to need a semicolon after the end of this in order for it to function properly. You can do specific numerical values for types of pixelations. Px is pixels. Don't forget that. If you need to do points or inches or centimeters, when you get into your margins, you can always assign that, or percentage sign. Speaking of margins, here we go. So you can set your margins to always 0 and padding to always 0. I don't always recommend that. You want there to be a little bit of flex in there in order for it to, in order for your website to look correct. Now remember that not all web browsers are created equal. They do react a little bit differently. So we'll have to play with it and see how it works. I'm having you guys format it either on Mac OS or PC if you're using brackets, and you're welcome to use any other software that you want, but those have the least amount of bugs that I've found, and go ahead and kind of poke around to see how well it works. You also should open up your web pages in Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox or Mozilla, Chrome, or any other web browser that you might use, just to see how it behaves. I always highly recommend that. Okay, so let's talk about CSS, and then I'm going to just tell you to go through the rest of this at your convenience. There's 3 ways to implement your CSS. You can do inline, which is inline for each and every single specific type of element. You can do embedded, which is in the head. Okay, you would open it up with a tag of styles, and then you'd go from there. What I really want you to do is create an external style sheet, because by the end of 2021, I believe it is, inline and embedded won't work. So you're going to have an external style sheet. So this is literally what you're going to put in your head. Okay, it's link, relationship to style sheet. href is going to be whatever the file name is, and the text in its text/CSS. Okay, so here's an example. This is inline. Okay, we don't want this. This is just an example. Okay, within your link, okay, you're going to need type equals quotations text CSS. This is within the style sheet, so this is what it would look like if you did it within the head. Okay, I don't want that. I want you to actually create your own external link. So this is what we're going to have inside the head. Okay, this link element should be in the head. That's super, super, super important. Please don't forget that. Okay, and ignore website C that. This is someone else's presentation that I had to, unfortunately, nab because mine was no longer working. Okay, so external style sheet. This is basically a comment. Okay, here are different examples. Don't worry about the hover yet. Okay, emphasis, and then unordered list, and then you have multiple unordered lists. Okay, that's what it should look like. W3.org is W3 schools, by the way. Okay, so text-related CSS properties. Take a look at some of these. Also in your files, there should be a CSS cheat sheet. If you have the opportunity, take a look at that, print it out. It gives you a few examples of these. And next week, we're going to really hit it hard on demonstrating font size, color. We can do the XX small, small through large, or numerical value. I always recommend numerical value because you always know what you're going to get.